Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live with me and the other guy. Nice face. You're out of the shot there. I'm trying
That's
to catch
okay.
Yeah, fine. Well, maybe you'd like to go in the other room then. Whatever grabs you. Oh, where's my cursor?
It's up there.
I'm trying to get it down here so I can get this thing off of here. Okay, I hear myself, so I know we're working. Okay, so let's see. We got lots of people in here right now. Sure, everybody remembered that it's prize month. Prize
Day.
Prize Day, yeah. So y'all come out then, yeah. Okay, fine. We know who our friends are. Just holding out for a prize. Holding out for that coveted printer poop. Genuine idiot quilter printer poop. Yeah, say that fast 5 times. Well, Russ is number 1 today. So he's, and I know he got on here like this morning. I saw him on there. So Russ says, Happy Star Wars Day. Yes, may the 4th be with you. Ha. And he says, I'll refrain from my hilarious 2 nerds Star Wars jokes. Thank you. That's all I have to say. Nina is here. And Mary is here. Mary, congrats on the election. I'm fighting a migraine, so I may just be listening. Have a great day. Okay, sorry to hear that your head hurts, Mary. Jeannie's here. Hi, Jeannie. And Dan is here. And Tamela. And Suzanne. And Charlotte. And Betty is here. From Southeast Ohio. She says it's cloudy and rainy there. Yeah, here's not too bad.
It's a little overcast. It's not super sunny, but it's a little hazy, I guess. And
it's nice and warm.
It's nice and warm. It's 17 degrees Celsius, which is about 63 degrees Fahrenheit.
Shorts and sandals.
Yeah, it's short sleeve weather.
Shorts and sandals, shorts and sandals, shorts and sandals, boots and pants and boots and pants and shorts and sandals. Yeah, whatever. Everybody's think I'm crazy. Well, you're not far off. Kathy says, are we all excited for a chance to win some genuine idiot quilter printer poop? You should be. Karen's here. Hi, Karen. Hi, Mona. Hi, Faith. Hi, Gloria. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Caroline. Where'd Caroline go? She was on top. She says, hello from sunny Sutton, Ontario. Russ, I would like to hear your Star Wars jokes.
Be careful what you wish for.
Be careful. Don't get them going. Artists here. Good afternoon from rainy San Diego. I'm glad to get as much rain as possible. Yeah. And Candace is here. Hi, Candace. And Sue. And Susan is here. And
Tilsonburg.
Where are you reading?
Good afternoon, Stephen and Walter from Tilsonburg, Ontario.
Where are you seeing
Susan Currens.
Oh, I'm not down there yet.
Oh, okay.
Geez, I'm trying to read these in order here, and you jump ahead. Cripes. Grant's here. Hi, Grant. Hi, other guy, Dana says. Susan says, good afternoon, Stephen Walter from Tilsonburg, Ontario. We have been to Tilsonburg, Ontario, and there used to be, I don't know if it's still there, but on the main drag of Tilsonburg, there was a really nice quilt shop there. That was Tilsonburg, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was. Inez is here. Hi, Inez. Sue says, good afternoon, Stephen Walter from sunny, breezy, central Missouri. And Karen is here. And she says, I just lost it.
There, it's there. Just above the orange.
Happy Sunday from the sunny Pacific Northwest. Okay, and Dubrovka is here. From sunny and warm Timmins. Diane is here. Well, we know it's sunny and warm where Diane is because she's in the Bermudas. In Bermuda. Yeah. Inez says it's overcast and 12 and on the rock. Okay. Colleen's there. Hi, Colleen. Russ says, I guess if anyone wants to hear my Star Wars joke, they'll have to come to my vlog on Wednesday. Yes, that would be a perfect place for you to do them. Yeah. Because you can fast forward. I'm just joking. I'm just joking, Russ. I am. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Susan says, yes, cherished
pieces.
Oh, yeah, that was the name of it. Yeah, it's still here. Yeah, I like that quilt store.
Actually, we spent a lot of money.
Yeah, we did. We dropped quite a bundle in that place. Andy's here. Hi, Andy. So, everybody's here. Good to see you all. I know you're just here for the prizes. Well, I'm going to make you wait. I'm going to make you suffer through other parts before then. That's the price you pay. Okay, so let's take a look at, if I can find it, what I've been working on, what Walter's been working on, what everybody's been working on. There we go. Let me get it on the screen. And there be. Yep. Barn Star Sampler is all put together. It's not quilted yet. I may get to it this week. I may not. If I don't get it done to this week, it's going to be about a month before I do, because we're going to leave for a trip very soon. More about that later. But, 2 years of off and on hell. But I like how it turned out, and I added 2 borders to it, inner border, outer border, to make it drape properly on our bed. And so what do you think, Walter?
Yeah, I like it. At first I wasn't sure about the color combinations, but now I really like it.
Well, I didn't really think that long and hard about the color combination, because I had 2 fat quarter bundles that I knew the 2 would coordinate with each other, and so I just grabbed fabrics at random for this. But I'm very pleased how that all worked out. So I have my backing picked out. It's a blue, and so I have to figure out what I'm going to do as far as a pattern is concerned for quilting it on Lucy. I'm thinking something that's probably maybe just curvy lines, fairly simple, because this is a fairly busy quilt, and just enough to give it some motion, and in a color that is, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe a lightish goldy yellow, or maybe even if I had, but I don't know if I have, like a beige, light beige or something, or I don't know. What do you think?
Great.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't thought of gray. A light gray would look okay. Yeah, the light gray would work.
Silver, something.
Or silvery, yeah, something light though. I don't want anything too obtrusive with it. But anyways, that's to be seen. I have to though test out Lucy first. I've got a junk quilt that I made some time ago, and because I had to change the tension when we worked with the giraffe quilt, and I had that
we were
cuddle.
screwing around with the tension.
Yeah, so I have to test it to make sure my tension is back where it should be. I wish they had some mechanism on these long arms, that like a numbering system or something, because you don't. It's all by feel, and that's a real pain in the ass. If you think about it, the amount of money you spend on a long arm with it, this is simple technology that they could add to it without any problem, but they don't. They don't do that. Like
yeah, well,
the needle
they're,
threader.
They're like, and they're almost like antique sewing machines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, come on, we're in the 21st century. I mean, if you can get a computer for it, and I've got one, of course, as you know, then why can't you add a couple of these other simpler things? I mean, just the dial with numbers on it, but an indicator.
I guess it's just,
I don't know. I don't know why they don't do something like that. But anyways, let's see. People are saying here. People are liking it. So Andy says, congrats on Carney's win. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. It might not be as positive.
yeah, like Americans don't.
Not yet. What? We're going to talk about that. Let's just
really
hold it.
understand.
We'll get that. We're getting to that. Everybody's liking the quilt. They like the borders. Yeah, the pattern didn't call for borders, but well, I needed the borders to make it big enough to drape properly on the bed, for one thing. And second of all, I lean towards borders when I'm doing a quilt, because I think in a lot of cases, to me, a quilt doesn't look finished if there isn't borders on it. Although, having said that, there's been a couple of quilts I've made without borders, but they were more modern. I think modern ones lend themselves to not having the borders with them. And there are some quilts that, yeah, that it's you don't want a border on it. But for the most part, I'm a fan of borders. I'm just not a fan of sewing them
You're
on.
old-fashioned. You're not modern.
And you're just senile, so whatever. Let's see. Holy cow, Andy says, that quilt is so intricate it makes my head spin. It reminds me of the quilt Jeannie made me that has 10,000 tiny squares. Yeah, I remember that quilt. I think it was mentioned at one time by that. Yeah, this one was a quilt from hell. It really was, to put it together. And Colleen says she likes the borders on your BSS. I just prefer borders, but I think they finished the quilt. Yeah. Oh, Joan is here. Hi, Joan. And Maureen is here. Russ says cool gray 3 from Glide would be a perfect quilting thread color. Have you got all the numbers memorized? Cool gray 3. I don't even think I have anything that has a single digit number on it. They're all like 5 digits. Maybe that's the name of it. Cool Gray 3. I've never really... I'm pretty sure I don't have Cool Gray 3. In fact, I'm thinking I don't have a lot in gray threads. So we'll see.
Use Floriani.
Yeah, I probably could use Floriani, but I don't know. I've never done that yet, but could. Maureen says, very early here, but have thought of using a variegated thread.
Mm. Might make it too busy.
Might make it too busy though. I don't know. I like variegated threads. I really do. And I do have several to choose from, but well, I'll have to audition different threads and then have his nibs look at it and he'll go, no, that one.
Yeah, well,
that one. He's got his mind made up.
There was a couple of, well, no, not necessarily. I just know that sometimes when I'm looking for threads for shirts, sometimes an odd color, sometimes a color that you wouldn't think would go good.
Yeah.
Actually it goes good.
I usually pick out 4 or 5 colors that I think are okay, and I, spool them out onto the quilt and look at them in the various areas and to see what it shows up. Then I'll usually narrow it down to about 3 from the selection or 2, and then I call him down and say, which one do you like better?
And then I go and pick one off.
Then he goes over to the shelf and picks one off it. Yeah. And it's usually one I hadn't thought of. So yeah. Grant says, I think the Bernina Qs have a needle threader. They maybe do. I don't know. It's Bernina. I don't deal with Bernina. I haven't drank the Kool-Aid. Yeah. Oh, Russ says, I have numbers for my tension on my long arm. Do you? You've got a handy quilter, don't you, Russ? I think yours is a handy quilter. Well, that's something. They don't have those on the APQSs. And they should have. I suppose you could probably do something. You could probably take a Sharpie, and when you've got the tension the way you want the tension, you could put a little mark, on the tension thing, if you can find a spot on it, and on the side of the machine, and maybe match that up. I'll have to investigate that further, but I don't know. I'm trying to think, though. I don't think the way that tension wheel is, there's enough room to put a mark. I don't know.
No, I think that
actually it doesn't
you have
spin.
A screw, right?
Yeah, it's a screw, and I was thinking the plate that's there doesn't move. It's only you're just tightening down the screw. So
screw with a spring.
Yeah. Yeah. Screwy. Terry's here. Hi, Terry. Russ says Cool Gray 3 is the color name. Okay, well, I'll look at my supplies and see if I have one like that, but I'm pretty sure I don't. Karen's here. She says, Walter has a great eye for color. Sure, blow wind up his ass. Whatever. Yeah. So that's one thing. And the other thing is the Peacock Feather Bag. Now, this was an In the Hoop project. I had better luck with this one than I did with the Dragon Bag. But it was all done in the hoop. Well, you have to sew it together, the panels and everything. But I think it turned out
Yeah, well, it's
nice.
similar to that patchwork.
Yeah,
one.
it's very much like
the
the patchwork.
design, but it's the different embroidery on it.
And
But it looks really nice.
I have a faux leather bottom, and no, the faux leather on the bottom isn't supposed to come part way up on the sides of the bag in this design. So before you ask, and I did my handles the way that Adam Sews does them. I used my webbing, my nylon webbing, and I encased them in the fabric. And I like doing that with them because I think they make a little stronger handle than just doing it fabric alone. And you don't need to put any batting in it if you like. Some people do put batting in, but you've already got the nylon in there. That gives it some fullness too. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this. And on Idiot Quilter this week, I'm going to show you my bag fobs that I've been making for bags as a little added elegant touch. Yes, it's my story and I'm sticking to it. Okay, so let me get out of this stuff. Now, Walter made something this week which is not a fashion piece. I'm trying to get this out of the way.
It's called a quick and dirty.
Yeah, it's a quick. He did a quick and dirty project here.
Because what it is, I didn't even change the color of my thread in my serger. I was lazy. So it doesn't match the fabric.
Okay, so what I'm going to show you here is the little video that we made of this little creation Walter made, and the video explains it all. So I'm going to play this for you right now, as soon as I get the screen up. There we go. So while I was sleeping the other night, Walter was busy with his serger and sewing machine making a bag, another Wally bag. But this is a little different Wally bag. What's different about this Wally bag, Walter?
It's designed to hold our Costco saran wrap.
Yeah, the big box of Costco saran wrap. This thing weighs a ton. You may wonder why we have duct tape on it. That's because these boxes don't last as long as the saran wrap in them. So Walter reinforced the whole box with duct tape. But here you go. Here, hold that up. Let the people see your bag. Look at that. So now it goes in underneath the sink. Put it away, Walter.
And no, there's no pattern for it.
No, and he's not doing a tutorial.
And all I did was measure the inside of the box.
I'm trying to do a video. You shut the door. Jeez. Okay. See, there it is. And so now it's easy for us to take in and take out and not break our back. Because Walsh says there's no pattern for it. However, I'm looking at that bag. And you know, that bag would make a great utility bag for taking, your stuff to a retreat or your tools or whatever. So, maybe I should get Walter to show me how to make one of those, but we could dress it
It's
up.
a quick and dirty bag.
It's a quick and dirty bag. Was it all done on the serger?
No, I did some of it on the serger and some of the stuff.
And how long did it take you to make?
Probably less than an hour.
And what did you make it out of?
I made it. I have a bunch of this canvas that I bought
Oh.
that I don't know what to do with.
Yeah, I've got some too that I bought and not sure what to do with. So, could be a future project.
Boy, I'm old.
Yeah, you are. Mr. Magoo. Yeah, so that was what Walter. Where's the darn button here? There we go. Okay, so yep, Walter was making his bag, but actually that works really well because those boxes just disintegrate on us, and that box of saran wrap will last us probably. What was the last one, about a year and a half?
It's a brand new box.
Yeah, it's a brand new one, but the last one,
they last us about a year and a half or 2 years.
2 years, yeah. Get our money's worth out of that at Costco, because I forget what they cost, but they're not that expensive for those.
They're about $25, I think.
Yeah, something.
But we never run out of saran wrap.
No, we always have a good supply of saran wrap. And Walter was also busy doing something else, which I didn't know until today, because he says to me, can you come out here and look at your car for a minute? And I went, oh, is this good news or bad? He says, it's good news. So we were trying to figure out how long ago it was.
Well, this thing is during pandemic.
It was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's probably been at least, maybe even 3 years.
Yeah.
Walter was pulling my car out of the garage.
It was before I bought this.
Yeah, it's before you got the car you had now that you keep in the garage. Mine used to be in the garage, and Walter wasn't used to negotiating back.
Yeah, I remember pulling out the car, and I had my mind on other things, and all of a sudden I heard this horrible noise. And his mirror cracked.
And the result was this. Now the thing was, I didn't realize this had happened until, because I don't drive my car that much, until about 3 days or so after the event. And I happened to look and went, how come my mirror is broken? And so I went in the house and said,
No, I said to you before you took the car out, I said, you're going to notice something with your car. I broke your mirror.
Yeah. So the thing was, though, and you see the broken mirror here at the moment. The thing is, he ordered a new mirror from Amazon for it, but it wasn't the right size.
Well, it was supposed to fit the car, and then I went outside to try and put it in, and I accidentally dropped it.
Yeah, then he dropped that one and it broke.
And I didn't put anything down on the ground to keep it from breaking.
But then to add injury to insult, well, I'll show you. So anyways, I'm going to ahead of myself here. So he comes in, he says, no, you'll like this. And I said, ooh, a new mirror. Look at that shiny new mirror that he got in there, and he didn't drop it in
my ugly shirt that I'm wearing.
Yeah, whatever. And it fits in everything. But it was about a week later, after all the mirror incident, that I realized that I had a chewy outside of my frame that goes around the mirror. He didn't mention that he not only did he break the mirror, but he broke off a chunk of the thing for it. But that's okay. No one's going to notice it. My car's a 2008, and I'm not spending the money to have Honda put a whole new thing on there, because that'll be like several $100s with it. So a $50 mirror from Amazon. I said he could have saved it for my birthday. Surprise, surprise. Which isn't for a couple of months yet. But anyways, I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to, it'll take me time to get used to it. I'm used to seeing everything in a cracked mirror, in a smashed mirror and shards, not in a nice new, shiny new mirror. So yeah, that was the highlight of today. I know it doesn't take much to get me going about things. So let me get over here to this and just see what people are saying. Cool gray. Oh, Christina is here. Hi, Christina. Everybody likes my bag. Candace is laughing at Quick and Dirty. Yep, that's Walter's middle name, Quick and Dirty.
That's what we used to call when I used to work in software design. Everybody would say, "Oh, I'll just make a quick and dirty a little program to do something."
Well, Andy says, "Hey, Walter, I need a bag for my art supplies." That's what I saw when I saw that bag. I thought that would be a great bag. Like, I've got one. Actually, I made two of them, and they're bags by Annie, and they're a craft bag. They're a little bit more elaborate than this, but
yeah, you could probably easily put some dividers in it and stuff like that.
Well, you don't have to make it out of canvas either. It's such a basic design, you know. And if you made it with your serger, if you have a serger, it's fast and, well, it's quick and dirty. The quick and dirty. There you go. Maybe you should make a pattern and call it the quick and dirty bag. Walter's quick and dirty bag. So Betty says, nice bag, very useful. Wish I could make bags that look so nice. Yeah, Walter's the bag master. Bonnie's here. Hi, Bonnie. And Pat's here. Hi, Pat. And Dubrovnik says, way to go, Walter. Innocent break. Yeah, but he's like a small child. He runs away and giggles when he does something bad from it all. Yeah. My car's a vintage. It's a 2008. It's
with 67,000.
No, 71.
71,000
I've got
kilometers.
71,000 kilometers on it. I get an oil change every 3 years. because it doesn't go anywhere. Because I like to be driven. You know, driving Miss Daisy. He's the chauffeur. Yep, I'm Miss Daisy. So, anyways, that's all that. Okay, some announcements and things. So, sewing with Stephen Wednesdays as usual. However, this coming Wednesday is the last sewing with Stephen for a few weeks, for a couple of weeks, because we'll be gone. We leave for Holland on a week from this Monday. So there'll be no sewing with Stephen on
Wednesday.
that Wednesday.
That Wednesday and the Wednesday after.
So we'll resume sewing with Stephen on okay.
Well, we'll be coming back the day before Wednesday, so you could technically.
Yeah, well, we'll be back the day. Well, I'll probably.
It would be the 28th.
So that's what I was looking for. So the 28th of May, but there will be one this week. Okay, so there you go. And then if you're a regular, you got 2 weeks off. Miss me. No, really, I suggest you miss me. Yeah. Karen says, had 563,000 miles on my Honda before I decided to get another one. Yeah, I agree. I like Hondas for sure, but oh my God, you certainly got your money's worth on that one. How old was your car at that point?
3 years old.
Yeah, where you been going? You driving across the ocean to Europe? How long can you hold your breath? Okay, so Chatty this week. I did my guild presentation for you. I'd had several people ask me about that when I gave it in person. So I thought, well, I've still got the stuff. Why not do that? And also because we didn't have anything else to plan for that. So figured it'd be a nice time filler. But a lot of people have written to me and said they enjoyed it. So I'm glad you did. And if you haven't seen it yet, basically my talk was about why I call myself the Idiot Quilter and about my quilting journey and that kind of thing. That's what the guilds asked me to do, so that's what I did. Karen says car was a 1999 and got new in March of 2014. Okay, so it's about 15 good, years old. Yeah. Mine's what, 18? 2008, this is 25, do the math, 13, no, 8 from 19 is 17. Mine's 17 years old, so yeah. And then Andy says, I got 100,000 miles on her Toyota Camry. Toyotas are supposed to be good cars.
Yeah, I had a Pontiac Vibe, which is technically a Toyota Matrix. And I had about 200,000 kilometers on it before I got rid of it. But it was still running okay.
Susan says, enjoy your trip to Netherlands. Last time I was there was 1964 with my Oma and Opa. I hope to visit my family there in the near future. They have more land now. They reclaimed, didn't they?
Yeah, well, yeah, they've always reclaimed some. But...
They always say it. So there's more of it. Yeah. It's bigger. Ivy's here. Hi, Ivy. Ivy says she really enjoyed the presentation. Well, I'm glad you did, Ivy. So next week, what we're going to do is, we've been thinking about this, and we're coming up to retreat season and things like that. I think, usually retreats, there's a lot of them in the spring, there's a lot of them in the fall, maybe some in the summer, but those time. And, there's a lot of places out there that are advertising they're having retreats, and a lot of them are quilt stores, or they have quilt cruises that are like retreats and things like that, which is all fine and dandy. But, that doesn't necessarily mean that they know what they're doing. We've been to enough retreats, and I've had enough, and I've held my own retreats as virtual and that I thought it might be interesting to talk about it. What a retreat organizer or host or whatever, what they need to know to create a successful retreat. And this is going to be sort of a blend of my own experiences, our own experience of going to retreats. Because we've been to some that have been good, and we've been to some that have been really lousy lately. And there's a reason for why they're lousy. And so we're going to talk about those things. And so that's going to be on So Chatty this week coming. So tune in if you're interested.
We need a filler.
Because we need filler.
Yeah. I guess we're going to do the bag thing when we come back.
When we come back, we'll do the bag thing.
I've already started
I have
getting
too.
stuff together. So,
but we're going to save that for when we come back. mainly.
Yeah, because we need a couple of sessions.
Yeah, probably for that. So yeah, so next week we're going to talk about what we think, what a retreat, what retreat attendees want, and what retreat planners should know about it. Okay, so that's next week. What else happened this week? Oh, we got shot. We got a COVID booster, both of us. Did we have a reaction? Nope, never do. We're fine. But, I'm glad we have it because, we're going to be trapped in one of those little metal aluminum tubes that has a whole bunch of people coughing up stuff.
I didn't really think about it before, but there was, I've known a couple of people, or we've talked to a couple of people that have recently had COVID again. So I thought,
yeah,
better take,
I don't want to be sick. Nothing kills a holiday like death or sickness. Either way. So yeah, we got the shot, and anyways, it's getting to be pretty routine. Basically you get one every 6 months, a booster. And if you're not, COVID still exists, people. And you should be getting them, especially if you're up and over the 65 age.
They recommended it because we're over 65.
Yeah, we're old people, Small child will come and cough on us. And then that's the other thing too, measles. Now, probably people in our age bracket, we probably all had measles as kids. And if you've had measles as a kid, you are immune to it. We checked that out to make sure with our doctor.
Yeah, like last year they were having a problem when we went to Australia. In Australia they were having some problems with measles, and so we went to the doctor and had ourselves checked out to see if we were had immunity. So we both tested that we had immunity.
Yep. So that's a good thing. But measles is on the rise now. Mind you, it's on the rise amongst small children here in our own province, but in other parts of Canada and the United States as well. And the big problem here is people are not getting their children vaccinated. That's stupid. I know people say a vaccination is going to give my kid autism. The court's still out on that one. Okay. There's lots of reports out there that say one way or the other way. You know what it's like. But I don't think, in my opinion anyways, and I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on YouTube, I would think, the chances of a child getting autism because you gave them a measles shot? Yeah, really? Some kids can't have these shots because of certain problems, allergies or something like that. Get that, and all that.
If you're allergic to shots and stuff like that, that's
measles can be deadly to a small child. It can kill them, and then you have old people, and when I say old people, I mean us, and that kind of thing. And if you, luckily we don't have grandchildren, so this won't happen to us, but grandkids come over to visit grandpa and grandma, and you got little ones and they haven't been immunized and they're carrying measles and nobody maybe not, don't know right at that moment in time that the kid's got measles because it's not showing signs of it yet. And, infect grandpa and grandma and they die. Okay. That's always a good visit. Something to tell your kids later in life. Oh, by the way, when you were little, you killed your grandparents. Yeah, that ought to warp them and put them into therapy for a while. Yeah. So, I don't know. My feeling is vaccines good. People who don't believe in them, bad. Sorry. My opinion. Not getting into the discussion because you're not going to change my mind with it. And we always get the flu shot too every year as well. And I've had...
Yeah, because one year, a long time ago, we had the flu so bad that one year that ever since then we've always had a flu shot because we had it so bad that I was off work for a whole week. So,
and I guess
there was a couple of times where I didn't think it was going to make it.
No, I know. We were, that was horrible. And That was when flu shots weren't fashionable
Yeah.
at that time. And then after that, as soon as they came out with it, we said, oh, yes, yes, please. We want one. Give it to me. I mean, I used to be always, I was never one for needles. They don't bother me anymore. Stab them wherever because I've had enough of them now in the last few years, because when you get to a certain age, they want you to have a pneumonia shot. They want you to have a shingles shot. Had all of those. And then, of course, every year the flu shot. Now we get the COVID shot twice a year, it seems, and all that kind of stuff. So just shoot me up, baby, with all of that. So, yeah. So we're good to go for COVID. And, I mean, it's no guarantee you don't get COVID.
No, but you're supposed to. If it at least lessens it, I'm
Yeah.
happy. So
Yeah. Well, I did get COVID and I'd had the shots. And we got the super antiviral drug too at the very early stage
well, you
of it.
got it because all I had was you were coughing. All I had
Yeah.
was I felt like I had the flu.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't feel absolutely bedridden miserable, but I had a cough and I was tired and I knew there was something definitely not right. So I got the antiviral pill for it and took that. And I was pretty much over it within a few days with it too. But that's me. I'm one of those lucky people. I think I have a very strong immune system. I always have. Probably from my years of teaching, because those kids come in and in about the early fall, they're snotting up a storm. Like I've always said, children, major germ bags. Okay. So yeah. So teachers do build up a certain amount of immunity because we get exposed to everything. But anyway, so we've got that out of our way. Okay, so yesterday, Ultimate Sewing, our local quilt store, was having a big sale. Well, yeah, they're trying to make room on their shelves for new bolts of fabric. So they had all the old crap laid out in one room, and it was, what was it, 12 something a meter?
12.75. I don't know how she came up with
I
that.
don't know.
12.75 a meter.
And which is pretty damn good if you saw something you like. She had a little bit of Kaif, she had a little bit of Tula, not the good Tula, and there were some other things. Now, mind you, we didn't go until the afternoon, so some of it was probably picked over. But we didn't buy anything off that table, but that didn't mean we didn't buy anything at all. I went in and bought some more O Canada fabric because my next quilt I want to make is another Quilt of Valor. And so she had a bit. She doesn't have much of it, but I'd already ordered some from their new line. Northcott makes the O Canada series, and they've come out this year with O Canada 13, and I really like that one. So I ordered from Quiltitious.
I think it's
Quiltitious. It's not licious.
Oh, okay.
Quiltitious. Anyways, love the store. You've heard me talk about it on Idiot Quilter before. Customer service is great. I mean, I've never been to their actual store.
They have interesting selection of fabrics.
Yeah, they've got some nice stuff there. But I ordered a bunch from them that came the other day, and I'm happy about that. But now they're sending out to all their regular customers emails where they're trying to figure out what they're going to get in the store. So they're sending out electronically catalogs that they get from the major manufacturers of fabrics, and they're asking if you want to go through it and say what you like, what you think they should order, and then they're basing their orders on it, and they're offering a little bit of an incentive, like $25 off if you buy $100 or more of product and stuff like that for doing it. There you have a coupon. Funny, I put in my first submission, and they just sent one out today, and I put that one in, and I never got an email yet with that coupon code. So, what's going on there? Well, I'm sure they'll make it right because they always make everything right. But they have some good fabrics online, like really interesting stuff. So
yeah, stuff
check
that other quilt stores don't seem to have around here.
Yeah. So yeah, check them out. Quiltitious. Okay, so got that. And in Ultimate Sewing, it was as busy as hell. And oh my God, I wanted to kill a couple of ladies in there. Actually, I want to kill them all, and I'm not talking about the staff. Just rude, pushy
Yeah, rude, really
bitches.
rude. Like here, they were like throwing bolts at this.
At the staff in there. Here, get this. And then this one, she had a pattern, and she was picking all her fabrics out at that moment, and every fabric she was having one of the salespeople in there, one of the ladies, go and find her all this stuff, and she'd come up with 3 or 4 selections and say, well, I think this would, one of these would work really well. And this woman would look at, oh, I don't like those. She was just rude and ignorant.
I know, rude and ignorant. I couldn't believe if I would have worked there, I would have been ringing.
Yeah, I mean, well, I couldn't work there.
Yeah,
There's no way.
There. I wouldn't be able
there
to
would be
put
death
up with that.
I'm telling you, I would just pick up one of those bolts of fabric and lambaste her across the head with it. No, I like this color. I strongly suggest you do too. But anyways, and the best part though was when I was paying for my stuff, I went up to the counter, and I don't know if this lady, I think she was approaching the counter at the same time, and I think she had this look on my face, or on her face, when I walked up the counter, like, you should let me go ahead of you look. You know that look? And I just played really stupid. I didn't butt in. But then I said, oh, I'm sorry. Did I cut you off? And she goes, oh, no. And I says, oh, well, because I really don't care, but I just wanted to know. And then I laughed at the end of it. So, yeah, bitch. But I couldn't work there. I don't know how those women put up with it because they were just rude. And then this one woman had 3 children with her who were not interested at all in what was going on there. And they weren't small, but they weren't big. They were medium-sized children, probably grade 4 to grade 6 sort of a thing, or grade 3 to grade 6 in that. And they were underfoot all the time. Like, go back out and play in traffic, okay?
Actually, I was surprised there were a couple of husbands in
town
too.
Yeah, they were there too. They didn't look thrilled either about it. So, I mean, crack a window and leave them out in the car. He'll be happier with that. But it's not a big store to start with. So when you get that many in there,
and it's pretty jam-packed with fabric and stuff like that, and notions and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a crowd of people in there, and it's hard to get around.
It's hard to get around. So yeah,
like the aisles are too skinny for 2 people to go through, especially the size of some.
Yeah,
of
there was okay, let's face it. Some people have a lot of junk in the trunk. So there you go. And they don't seem to understand the meaning of the word excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get through here. Can you move the load to the left? Thanks very much. That's what I think. I don't say that. But one day I will. Then I'll be in trouble. So anyways, we did that yesterday. So as we said before, we are getting ready for our trip. Walter's been looking at quilt stores in the areas we're going to. I did a bit of a search.
There isn't a whole lot.
No.
And we don't really want to drag a lot of stuff back with us. There is very. I don't think there's a great selection of actual Dutch type fabrics that you can get, and the stuff that they have is kind of old lady.
Yeah.
It's a lot of floral.
Yeah. Well, it's Holland.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. And somebody was referring to going to Friesland or whatever, and we're not actually going to Friesland. I don't really have a huge desire. There are textile mills in Friesland though, but a lot of stuff they produce is linen there. So and there is a fabric market. We're going to be in a town, and every Saturday they have a fabric market in the town.
Is that Douala?
No, that's Utrecht.
Or is that so?
Utrecht.
Like I said, I don't speak phlegm.
Utrecht. And that's they have Saturday mornings. They have a textile market. So I think that should be interesting.
Yeah. with that. So we're not going out of our way to look for quilt stores because one, we're traveling very light because every place we're going on public transportation, we're doing trains and that kind of thing. As we said before, we have backpacks for this. We're not taking suitcases this time. So we're going very minimalist, you know.
Yeah, like, and there's one quilt shop in Amsterdam, and that's close to where we're staying, and it's only open Wednesday to Saturday. And
Are we there on a Wednesday?
we are there on a Wednesday,
Oh, okay.
so we can go, but that's at the beginning of our trip, right?
Yeah.
I mean, technically, if you really saw a lot of stuff you wanted, you could buy it, and they have storage lockers in the train station, so you can throw some stuff in there.
Yeah. But I don't anticipate buying much because it has to be something I really, really like, and it has to be something I cannot get here in North America. With it, it's got to be something very unique before I'm going to invest in it. He says that now. Yeah, but that's my plan with it. In fact, that's how I buy fabric anymore now. I mean, when we were over in Ultimate Sewing for a sale, if this had been a couple of years ago or something, I'd be like loading up my cart. But I have so much of a stash, and many of you can identify with that. And it has to be something that really rings my bell. You know, it have to stand right out and go, I gotta have that now. Before, when I used to buy fabric, it was there, yes, fabric, I have to have it. Now it has to be unique for me to want to buy it. So that's the attitude I'm taking with me to the Netherlands as well. Besides, we're not going there for a quilt trip. We're going there so
For a holiday.
Yeah, and so Walter can live
I want to go back.
memories of his parents.
Yeah, memories of Holland when I was a kid and we'd go there. So
yeah, kind of a thing. So that's what we're doing with all of that. So what's that mean about videos then and everything? Like I already mentioned that, you know, will be 2 weeks where we won't have a sewing with Stephen. But I will be trying to produce videos, and it's all going to depend on what the internet connection is like. And, you know, it's not like they're a backwoods country. They're not. They have internet, but it depends on what cost is. Like, do our hotels have free internet in the price or not? Do you know? Did you look into that?
yeah, they all have Wi-Fi.
Do they?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well,
they call it Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. Okay. What, with Wi-Fi with no phlegm?
No, there's no G in those.
Oh, is that where the phlegm
G,
comes from?
G, anything with the G in it.
Yeah. So if you order like souvlaki and you want it from goat, it would be goat.
No,
Goat.
goat. I forget what goat. I have to look up what goat is again.
Not that I'm planning to.
I
But-
saw it on menus, and I know
They have it on menus?
if I see the
They have goat.
they have goat cheese and stuff.
Well, okay.
Cretan.
Who?
Cretan.
Cretan?
Cretan is goat. Cretan. Cretan.
Swallow your
Cretan
tongue.
Cass. Goat cheese.
Okay, whatever. Yeah. So, and speaking of food, what was it you were telling me about a poutine there? Their version of it that's like quarter like.
Yeah, they have something. They have this thing called cup salon, which is supposedly like a type of poutine. It's and cup salon in Dutch is hairdresser.
So you're
So-
eating hair.
Yeah, no.
Hair
So
on French fries.
they call it a cup salon, which is, from what I gather, it's like meat and cheese on top of fries, which is like poutine, and meat and cheese on fries, and then on top of that, there's a salad on
They have
top.
salad on top of it. So
I
you're
guess
getting
it's
all
sort
your
of
food
like
groups in one.
all the dressing, and then it's got like sour cream and all kinds of other shit.
I want to try it.
Yeah.
If we can find it somewhere, I want to try
It's
it.
supposed to be available in the market hall in Rotterdam.
Oh.
So
So the market hall in Rotterdam, is that like a food?
they have, actually, it's
court?
a food place. They've got several restaurants in it. It's a great big huge building, which is a condo, and it's shaped like a giant barn, right? And
Oh.
it's all got it's weird because I guess the condo part is actually the roof and everything. So people have weird shaped condos, and they have condos where the glass has glass floors and they can look down on the market hall.
And people can look up your skirt.
Yeah. So,
Oh, that's the Dirty Dutch.
so yeah, so they have this big building called the market hall, and it's got all kinds of like casual food places, like sort of like mall food, right? You know, those kind of places, and all different things. Plus, all around the outside, they have restaurants on the main floor that you can go.
Sounds kind of strange. We never, the last time we were in the Netherlands, we never went to Rotterdam. So that'll be something new. We had been to, well, we actually didn't stop in Utrecht, did we?
No, because what happened was we were, if you remember, that was our whirlwind tour. We only had about 4 days in Holland, and it was we stayed a couple of days in Amsterdam. Then we got a car, and actually it may have been 5 days. We got a car, and
We drove to Zwolle.
drove to Zwolle, and went and visited my aunt and uncle that were still alive. Actually, my aunt and uncle from my father's side, and my aunt and uncle from my mother's side, and we walked around a lot, and then we took the car one day and drove all
The way around.
We drove to a place called Giethoorn, right, which has got all these canals, and the houses are all, it's very picturesque.
Oh yeah, that
right?
place. I remember that. That was,
And then
yeah.
and then we went and drove the car all the way around the top part of Solo through Friesland, and we went across the big dike.
She wasn't happy about that.
They have one called the Offsuit Dike, which is the it's the big dike that cuts off to the North Sea. They have the Zuiderzee, which is in Holland, which is part of the North Sea, and they cut off the North Sea from the rest of Holland, and they start sucking the water out of that, and that's where they reclaim land from.
Just like I said earlier, it's bigger now. Holland. Well,
so now that spot where they've cut off the ocean from the interior water, that interior water has been desalinated, so it's fresh water now.
Oh, okay. The Dutch are very clever when it comes to water. So if you ever have problems with water in your basement, call a company that has Dutch people working for them, because they'll know how to get rid of the water.
Actually, they've reworked the Central Station, train station in Amsterdam, and they used to have a parking garage on the outside that was for bikes, and it was huge, right? And now what they've done is they've dug underneath the station, and they have a huge parking garage under the station for bikes that will hold like something like 30,000 bikes or something like that.
They take biking seriously over there.
So this big huge parking garage it is technically underwater. The parking garage.
Maybe it's a good idea if you know how to swim before you go to the Netherlands. I don't know. You know, water in your basement? No big deal. It's the Netherlands. Well, whatever. Well, are we going to that place where we saw the windmills, the old traditional windmills?
Yeah, no, actually, we're going to go to a different place. We
I don't know where we're
originally
going.
went
He's
to
my
a
travel
place
agent.
north of Amsterdam called Zaanstreekant. That's the place we went before. But now there's a place near Rotterdam called Kinderdijk, which is Children's
Dike.
Kinderdijk. And I want to go there, and it's got we can take a boat from Rotterdam to. It's a water taxi. We take it to Kinderdijk.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so much to see, so little time. Yep, with it all. But anyways, it'll be an interesting experience for many reasons, because I don't remember a heck of a lot when we were in.
I mean, if you want to go to the other one too, we could do the other one on
I don't really
the
care.
last day. But
You seen one windmill? Seen them all. Yeah. With it, but I mean, the thing is that the train experience with that, and we are planning to go first class on the trains because.
Well, actually, the only difference between first class and regular class is there's less people. First class.
That's what I like. I don't want to be with the
seats are a little nicer. But other than that, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not worth it going first class because it's the prices of the tickets are about double, and the only the seating's not that much better." But basically, because it's more expensive, nobody's in those cars.
So yeah, because when we were on the high speed train from Amsterdam to
we went first class.
we went first class on that one, and it was nice. That was nice. I enjoyed that mainly because there weren't people on it. So yeah. Let's see. Catch up here. Some people are talking about car mileage. Faith has a question. How's walking daily going, Stephen? Well, today we walked 5 kilometers, but I have not missed a day in 2 weeks. I usually walk in the morning at about, I try to get out at about 7 o'clock, and I'm gone for about 35-40 minutes. I have my route that I sort of switch around each day, and that one's about almost 3 kilometers. And yeah, it's doing fine. I'm getting into the habit of it. And today we went out for a walk together. So we went sort of not a new route, but route that I wouldn't normally do on my morning ones. And that was 5.1 kilometers on it, according to the watch. So yeah, that was quite. And on our way home, our neighbors next door were coming out for their walk with their cute little dog, Mocha. I had not seen Mocha yet. And it is the cutest.
I should have taken a picture of that.
Yes, you should have. The cutest little thing, and I could pet this one. It's a little dachshund. And
I think it's a miniature dachshund.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
It's pretty small.
It's a tiny little thing. Cute as all get out. And their other one that they had that passed away, Mia. Mia would not let you touch her. She just bark, 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 and never shut up. This one gave one little bark. And Janine picked her up, and the little dog didn't have a problem with me giving a little pet and going, "Oh, you're so cute, you're such a little fluffy," and like that. And then the big dog walked by, and I said, "Oh, this would be a 2-bite brownie for that one." But anyways, cutest little thing. I like dogs too. I still prefer cats.
I think they had a lot of problems with their previous dog that it was really high strung. And that one was a combination of a dachshund and a chihuahua, but it was very high strung and very nervous all the time, and they had a lot of problems with it because of that.
But anyways, this one's just a little cutie. Just gobble it right up. Susan says, I worked in retail grocery, and since COVID, people have become rude and feel entitled, unfortunately. I've noticed that too, Susan, when you go out shopping. Why? I'd like to know why. I mean, what did COVID do to people that made them that way?
I don't understand people treating staff at stores badly. Like, I don't get that.
Why are you treating the help like crap? I worked in retail for a little bit, as you know, at a craft store after I retired for a bit. And yeah, I don't get it.
Like, I mean, they were treating her like a personal servant.
Yeah,
type of thing.
Really. So, but then her boss was too. So
yeah, well.
But Andy says, is quilting more prevalent in North America than in Europe? I'm not sure, but I have a feeling it is. Yes.
I think quilting is a thing that is done in Holland, but it's not as. I don't think it's as prevalent as things like crocheting and knitting and stuff like that were in Holland. But I think it's a big thing in England.
Yeah, because I mean they have the Birmingham Quilt Show.
Yeah,
and everything.
In England, it's a bigger thing.
I don't know. That's a good question. I have no real idea about that. Dubrovka says less people is the best. Yeah, when I'm traveling, I don't want to see people.
Like, I mean, the train system in Holland is very good, but it's or in Netherlands is very good, but it is a little on the pricey side compared to what it would cost for us to take a train here. But it's but it
more reliable.
But everything's expensive. Like I mean, if we had rented a car, it'd be expensive too.
Yeah. So Teresa's here. Hi, Teresa. Andy says, if I had been in retail, I would still be in jail. Yeah.
Still be
Rachel.
in jail. You mean you were in jail once?
Oh yeah, there's a story there. Hey, do tell. Okay, so anyways, that's about that. We're getting ready for the trip and everything. So I think it's time for the prize draw, people. Yes. So here is the magic code. All right. So in the next minute and a half, all you need to do in the comments section is enter the numbers 1, 2, 3. The numbers, not the words, though. The numbers 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Just do that. We'll wait. We'll give you a moment and we'll keep on talking. So 1, 2, 3 to enter the draw if you wish to win a mystery box of 3D prints featuring.
Okay, did you have to do something?
No, I don't have to do anything.
Oh, okay, there.
No, I
Yeah.
don't have to do anything yet until these get in. So we're giving everybody a chance to get them in. I said a minute and a half. They have 1 minute more. So get those in. 1, 2, 3. And don't try to do it more than once because the system will only recognize it as once when you've done it one time. Oh, there's always Russ, right? Uno, duos, tres. Oh, Russ, you're so funny. Not. And they're all coming up. Okay, we got about 45 seconds here, people. So get those in there. We've got 25 entries at the moment. And when I do tell you who the winner is, or when Nightbot tells you who the winner is, I will need, you got about 30 seconds left. You will need to send me an email with your full mailing address, please. If you are someone outside of North America, I'm sorry, this entry is only for North America. Because shipping's a bitch. It's a bitch sending it to the States. Let it be a Canadian. Let it be a Canadian. Of course, it's a bitch too. So, in fact, it's not any cheaper sending it in Canada, we found. Okay, 15 seconds, people. 1, 2, 3 is what you need to enter. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to close it right now, and we're choosing the winner. And the winner is a Canadian, Inez. Well, that'll cost. Inez, you are the winner of this month's Mystery 3D Printed prize. So, Inez, I need you to send me to my email address your full mailing address, please. Inez, are you still here? First of all, I should ask that.
Well, she should have. She just put it in.
Oh, yeah, I guess she would. Yeah. Well, whatever. I just like to make sure that Inez is here and knows that she has won. Okay, so, yep, Inez is there. There we go. Okay, so Inez, if you don't have my email address, I'm going to put it in the chat for you right now, as soon as I find my right button for that. I used to have a button. I don't have a button on that. I will have to enter it manually. But it's not too difficult. Just make sure you put it as Steven, not Steve. If you put it as Steve, it will go somewhere, but not to me. So
Okay.
There you go, Inez. There it is. So congratulations, Inez. You're getting a wonderful box of 3D prints, and
Poop.
best of all, you're getting poop. Because everybody should have some poop. Okay, so let's talk about our reactions to the election. Well, first of all, we are happy that our vote went where it should go and helped it. Mark Carney is our prime minister, as you know. Mark Carney is our prime minister now, and the Liberals, his party, have a minority government, though. That part, ideally, we would have liked the Liberals to have had a majority, but they didn't get it. So we're going to explain exactly what that means. And I'm going to show you a little graph up here. This shows you the number of seats of the major parties that were in this. And so the Liberals won 169 seats. The total number of seats is 300, I believe it's 343. And we're talking seats in our House of Commons. That's the equivalent of your House of Representatives, or I think that's what you call it. So 172 seats, if a party wins that many or more, they have a majority government. But ours was just short by 3 seats. That's not votes, that's seats. Districts, if you wish to put it in American terms. We call them ridings. So they got 169. The Conservatives got 143 seats. So you see, basically, what this means is, if the Liberals want to get a bill passed, every Liberal has to vote for it. However, if the other parties that are there, the Conservatives, the Bloc Québécois, we'll talk about that in a minute, and the New Democratic Party and the Green Party with the remaining seats in the House, if they decide to vote against it, they could have more votes against it than the Liberals have for it. So in order for the Liberals to get a bill passed, they have to hope that either some Conservatives jump party lines and decide to vote for it, which is probably very unlikely. So they'd have to get their votes from the Bloc Québécois and or the New Democratic Party. Now the Bloc Québécois has 23 seats. So that would be the one that would be most likely to...
Now, can the New Democratic Party... Oh, yeah, I guess they can.
Yes, they can. They have 7 seats.
Yeah.
But, you know, to get the... to make sure they have more than, like, if let's put it this way. The Liberals bring in a bill and they all vote for it. Well, that's 169 votes for that bill. The Conservatives, if all of them voted against it, the bill would still pass. But the thing is, these two parties could change the vote. If the Bloc didn't like what the Liberals proposed and they vote against it, their votes are going to go with the Conservatives. They have 23 seats. Add that to 143. That's 100 and what's that? That's 166. So then it's up to the New Democratic Party to decide which way they're going to go. So you see, although these parties are small and don't have a lot of votes, they could change. They could, if they, depending on what side they're going to go for. So it's so close. And so that makes it a really great win, but it would have been better if they won 172 seats plus, because then they wouldn't have to, they don't give a shit who votes for it.
Yeah, then they can pass any bill they want to.
Yeah.
But now they have to owe up to the other parties.
They got to kiss up to the Bloc, and the Bloc will make them kiss up. So let's talk about what the Bloc is. The Bloc Québécois is basically only in Quebec, and Quebec is special. Okay? Quebec has slightly different rules than the rest of Canada for certain things. That's kind of the concession that was made when Canada was being formed way back before 1867, because the French were here first, basically, in this country. It's just the British conquered them and took over. So in order to appease them, they get special consideration in certain things. And this party has never been very strong in terms of everything else across Canada. But you can see they're in a strategic position right now. They can dangle a carrot in front of the Liberals and go, we might vote with you. We might vote with the Conservatives. And so there's always that. So when any bill that the Liberals might want to pass in the House, in the House of Commons, they're going to have to take in consideration how it's going to affect Quebec and whether or not they're going to be favorable for it. So there's a little dance that has to be done here. Now, the New Democratic Party got wiped on this one. Their leader did not win his seat in his own riding, and he is stepping down, so there's going to be a new leader. They do not have official party status, although they have 7 seats in the House of Commons. But if you don't have official party status, it means it's very difficult to arrange funding for future campaigns with it. So this is a real blow to that party, because traditionally this party usually ends up as being very powerful in that they take the place of the bloc, and usually more seats than 23. But in this case, the roles have been reversed.
They tend to be very, we would call very left-leaning.
Yes. So they tend to be more on the side of the Liberals and the Conservatives. The bloc, they're just special. They'll play all sides off the center on that one. The Green Party, no one cares about. It's one tree hugger. Okay, so yeah, they never get anything. Yeah, they're just a joke. So that's the way it sits right now. So for us, we were hoping for a Liberal majority. This came very close, but we're sitting on pins and needles watching it on election night, how this all went out, because some of the writings between the Liberal and the Conservative candidates were extremely close, like very small margin, to the point where they had to do recounts.
Yeah, and if you have a majority government, then you are in, for sure, you're in power for the full mandated time. Which is what, 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years. Because you are more susceptible to votes of non-confidence, which is when the other parties decide that they don't like you anymore and that you're not doing a good job. So if they put in a vote of non-confidence, they can tumble the government. The government has to go for another election with it. And that's not going to be easy in these next 4 years, even though the Liberals have a minority because of the number of seats more that they have. But it's still a possibility if they really piss off the bloc.
Yeah, and plus, if the Conservative government, if the Conservative Party or the bloc or the other parties decide to gang up on them and dissolve the government, a lot of times that happens when let's say the polls show that the Conservatives are strong, and they think that they can win the election. Yeah.
So, okay, so back to the Conservative Party. Another thing that was really delightful to see, Pierre Poilievre is the leader of the Conservatives. He is what we call mini Trump in this country. He's a jerk. He's an a-hole, and he's all the other words in between that mean the same thing as that. He's a professional politician, never worked a day in his life, has been in politics for umpteen million years, and he was kind of resting on his laurels. And he didn't get elected in his own riding. The Liberal candidate beat him out. He was not the right man for this political climate that we're dealing with right now between our country and the United States, to be there. Mark Carney is a stronger leader, but he does not have as much political experience as Pierre Poilievre. But Pierre Poilievre does not have as much economic experience and background as Mark Carney. So basically what it came down to is Canadians voted for who they thought was the best person to stand up against the threat of Trump. And the people spoke. And it's Mark Carney. However, we have our idiots in this country too, who I don't understand how their brains work, but they voted for Conservative Party. Now, you're going to think that a lot of the people that voted for the Conservatives, by the way, we had a record number of people came out to advance polls, according to this chart, 7.2 million. But we had about 11 million come out to the regular polling stations. But, and then they got some other lesser numbers. but it was 68.65% of a turnout for the election. That actually isn't much different. It's not a great, I think it's a slight increase from the past election. I think the past election was something at about 64% or something like that. So it is higher. But, you know, come on, people, if you're going to bitch about what's going on in our country, then you really need to vote. And I have no sympathy for those people who decide, well, it's just the same old asshole, I'm not going to vote. Well, then you keep your mouth shut. Because you have no right to criticize what happens in this country because you did not exercise your right to vote. So you've successfully said that you don't care. So back to the Conservatives, to Poilievre. So he lost his seat. Now, for most leaders, that means stepping down as leader of the party, and they'll have a new campaign to within the caucus, the registered members of the party, to vote for a new leader. And that's what happened when Trudeau stepped down and Mark Carney won the caucus election for that and became the leader of the party. Jagmeet Singh, who is the leader of the New Democrat Party, also lost his seat. He was beat out by the Liberal in his riding. He has said, he immediately said he resigned from the position, so the New Democrats Party now has to find a new leader for their party. But not Pierre Poilievre, because that's just how arrogant he is. And in fact, he can stay as leader of the party even though he doesn't have a seat in Parliament, but makes it very difficult for him to lead the party when he can't. He's not part of the House of Commons. So what they do in a case like that is they find a weak link within the party who's already has a place in Parliament, an MP, member of Parliament, to stand down from their riding that they were elected in, and the overthrown leader basically takes that up. Now, they have a by-election for this. The people will elect, but they pick the riding they want to be in. So he's picked some minuscule one out in Alberta, because in Alberta, they are very heavy conservatives. So he's a shoo-in on the by-election, so he'll get a seat in Parliament and maintain his leadership. But really, the writing is on the wall. But the Conservatives are like the Republicans in the United States. They don't do the logical thing. The logical thing is, okay, your leader let you down. Bye-bye. Pick a new one.
I guess the argument is that they did get more seats in this election.
Yeah, that's the way they're spinning it. That they got more seats this time. Now, why did they get more seats? Well, this is what I heard one political analyst said. Generally speaking, you would think that the Conservative Party is the people who would vote for them, the demographic, would be old white men. Us, kind of a thing. Well, we're not conservatives, as you well know, with that. But that's not where it happened. It happened amongst the millenniums. The millenniums have gone conservative. They're idiots. Millenniums. In your late 20s up to about 40 is the age group we're talking about. These youngsters, and we can call them that because they're a lot older than they are. We're old enough to be their parents with it all, have no idea about what has given them the life they have today. You know, a good example Walter brought up was women's rights. And what was it, the context?
Yeah, well, a lady I used to work with was getting argumentative about other more modern rights like gay rights and things like that. And I said to her, well, would you like to go back in time when you lose all your rights as a woman, where you can't vote, you can't get your own credit card and stuff like that? Then do you want that sort of thing to happen?
Yeah. I mean, I remember in my mother's age group, I remember in probably the mid 60s, late 60s, where they changed the law So a woman could have a credit card or a bank account in her name. Before then, my mother could only have a bank account if the name on it was her husband's name. She could only sign checks with her official signature was Mrs. Lyle, my father's name was Lyle, Mrs. Lyle Bland, not Mrs. Lorna Bland. Lorna was my mother's name. There's a thing about L's with it all. So, yeah. But these youngsters,
Yeah, they've forgotten, or they haven't.
they
gone
don't
through
know.
that
They don't know.
sort
They
of
weren't born then.
situation, so they don't understand that.
And they're becoming somewhat ultra conservative. And we're seeing this movement in Canada, and we've seen the movement in the United States, and we know how that's working
Yeah,
out,
and
don't
actually,
we?
it's happening a lot in Europe too. So
Yeah. The world is shifting for some reason towards the right. I have my own theory for it, but I'm not a political analyst and I don't play one on YouTube. But my theory is this. People are just so fed up with being told that they can't say this or they can't do that, or what this is, everything has to be politically correct. Everybody, people who were the majority of, of a country in a sense, now it's almost shameful to be like, for example, it's shameful to admit that you're a white middle class male. And the argument there is, well, the white middle class males have had control of all of this country for so long and did this to women and did this to everything else. Now, people are reacting to all of that kind of thing. And the ones that are on the extreme right are calling that woke. And there's a whole movement now for the anti-woke movement that's out there in the whole bit. So that's why you're getting more votes like that. And I think that's very dangerous because they're already, and we're seeing examples of it in various places in the world, including the United States, and even here it's coming to Canada, where basic rights are being stripped from existing laws. Laws are being overturned. Like think of abortion rights in the United States. Those are being, thumbs up. Those are being overturned in various states at the Supreme Court level and all that kind of stuff. And there's more and more of it. And there's plenty of examples of it. But that's kind of scary that we're going there. So as far as we're concerned about this election, to bring it back to this actual election, we were happy that Mark Carney got in, the Liberals are in power. If for any reason to act as a wall against the extreme right and extreme conservatism. We'll see how that works out. Now, we can be happy about this, but he is a politician, Mark Carney. Okay, well, he's an economic, more in the world of finance, but he's also a politician. He has to, govern this country. That's what he signed up for. Will he stand up to the Trump threat? I think he will. But the problem here is, again, back to the minority government. Will he be able to bring the conservatives over to his side? Because there are many conservatives who don't think Trump as big a threat as what we think as liberals do. And that could cause grief within the House of Commons, because Carney needs to get some of them at least on side if he wants to make a strong force against the government, the American government. So yeah, we're not out of hot water yet. He is not our savior. But having said all of that, he is the best man for the job.
in our opinion.
In our opinion. Yeah. And Americans can think what they want, but you have no opinion on this because this is Canada. And so, yeah, your opinion, you can voice it, but it doesn't matter to us. It's our country still. And it always will be. Yeah. So, anyways, that's our take on the election. And I guess now the proof is in the pudding. We'll see what he does. He's got a hard job ahead of him because, as I said, he has to deal with Quebec, which is special, and he has to deal with the West, Alberta especially, because Alberta is rearing their own little separatist head. And I don't think Alberta has a chance of the people of Alberta voting for to be separate. But there's always that threat there. And we don't need threats from within when we're fighting the big threat from without. We need to be a strong country. And he's going to work on that. One of the things he's going to do is open up trade. He says by July 1st, Canada Day, he's going to open up free trade amongst all our provinces. And you might think, well, that's weird. You don't have that? No, we don't. But I don't think you have it in the States either, between states. There's always, some kind of tax situation or however. I don't understand economics that well for that point of view. But that would be a good thing. And he wants to talk to the Europeans more. He wants to make some new trade deals because we've had it too easy making trade deals with the United States because it was convenient. You're right there, just on the other side of the border. And it worked for many, many years, but until now, right? So, yeah. So I think he's the best man for that. And anything Trump puts out there about the economy, about economics, he's up against Mark Carney, who was the president of the Bank of Canada and basically the god of the Bank of Canada. And he was the god of the British banking system as well at one time. He's got a lot of experience in the world of finance. So there's no flies on that man whatsoever. So we'll see how this all works out. It's going to be, well, to say the least, interesting, but hopefully it's going to work out the way we want it to work out.
Yeah, plus it's not just Mark Carney. There's a lot of people that are in his party that have had to deal with economical discussions with other countries too. So
yeah. Carol says, is the NDP likely to vote with the Liberals? Yes, they are, but they'll make concessions. When Trudeau was in power, he sort of made a faux coalition government with the NDP to get some things through, but he had to give them concessions because they're all about the people, they say, and they have these grandiose designs, like they wanted universal dental care, and they're claiming they got it. No, they didn't. We have universal health care, but it doesn't include dental. We need to have third-party insurance in order to afford dentists, basically. And what they put into place was for kids under a certain age group, basically subsidized or free dental care. And did it go to the really old?
Yeah, and older people.
But older, like 80.
But you have to have a certain amount. You have to be under a certain amount.
Under 30,000 income. Well, $30,000 a year income is considered poverty in this country.
So it doesn't really affect as many people.
Yeah. So that was a joke. And there was something else that they had a concession on. I can't remember what it was now, but they were just jokes. And so, yeah. But Carney's got a job ahead of him because he's going to have to work with the Bloc, mainly the Bloc. Mm-hmm. And a few little NDPers along the way, but they're like, they don't have a leader.
Technically, the NDP has enough seats to throw them over.
Well, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. But yes.
So, and then Karen says, do you think any of the opposition members will cross the floor? No. That doesn't happen very often.
No. Conservatives don't do that. It would have to be something so devastatingly disastrous for them to do that. But that's
you hear of the odd defection,
yeah,
every once in a while, but that does not happen very often.
Yeah. Carol says, do you have to have your residence in the riding? No, you don't. Polyev his riding was a place outside of Ottawa, but that isn't actually where he lived. He's a Westerner. And
well, actually, now he's living in Ottawa. Right?
Yeah,
because he's the official opposition.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you don't have to have your residence, but to vote, you have to have a residence in your riding.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, let's see. Teresa says the dental is down to 65. Yes, now it's nice paying $35 for a checkup instead of 350. But not to get into your personal finances, Teresa, but you have to be under $30,000 a year income for it. We are not. So our pensions are good. So yeah. I mean, it's not like we're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. No. But and that was purposely put
And we
like
also
that.
have a third party dental.
Yeah, we have a third party, which we pay into a third party dental plan that gets us like pays about 85% of most dental things that we may need to have done with that. But it doesn't cover everything because if you need like a root canal or something like
Yeah,
that.
then you only get 50% back.
Yeah.
And that's only a certain, if they provided they don't send you to an expensive endodontist, because my endodontist, well, I was sent to an endodontist and they charged me $1,700 for a root canal, and I still ended up having to pay over $600. So.
Yeah. Doug, are you Canadian or American? Because I'm looking at your comment. Lots of seniors are under 35,000. Yes, there isn't a great number of seniors under 35,000. But there are more seniors that aren't. The government figured this one out. They did their financial paperwork. They knew how much this was going to cost them. And it was more in their favor, but it made it look good for other people. So, yeah. So anyways, that's what the outcome is of the federal election. Now, there were a few comments this past week.
I don't know. I'd have to
Don't
look
really
up the
know.
rules.
Yeah, we don't know for sure about that, Teresa. I think it could be. Who knows? The point is, it should be for all people, regardless of that. Or if you make over $200,000 a year or something like that, then you don't get it subsidized the same way. But as always, they go to the lowest income, and they forget about the middle class every time with it. So Catherine Anderson wrote, I voted and have always voted Liberal. I'm pleased with the results of our election. I believe a minority Liberal government supported by the NDP and the Bloc Québécois is the best hope for our country, and we can only hope that will happen over the next 4 years. I recognize that we all have differing opinions about that, and I respect yours, Stephen. However much I dislike and distrust the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre, he is a Canadian citizen, and I believe that he does not have dual U.S. Canadian citizenship. There was a thing going around that he had American and Canadian citizenship. I looked into it. That was a sarcastic comment that was made at one time on Facebook. He does not have dual citizenship. He is a Canadian. Mark Carney did have dual citizenship, Irish Canadian, but renounced his Irish citizenship. I was surprised that Poilievre is trying to hold on to his position of leader of the Conservative Party without a seat in Parliament, but maybe it's better with the devil we know. Yeah, but the problem here is the reason he's hanging on to the seat is not for any kind of reason that's to the benefit of Canadians. He's hanging on to a seat because it's the only job he's ever had, and he doesn't know how to do any other job, and it pays well. Yeah, and the way he goes about things, he doesn't do a lot. So, yeah, easy work if you can get it. Fernie5128 wrote, congrats on PM Carney. As a south of the border friend, I'm thrilled for Canada. Could you please gobble us up as another province? Oh, wait, I don't think anyone in their right mind would want us. Cheers from Minnesota. Yeah, we don't. Marie wrote, don't be mean with Québécois. We like you guys, and it's not everyone that wants to be separated from Canada. Personally, I think we are a great country because of all those differences and savors that each of us added to the mix. And Savers. I don't know what I think she meant a different word. Spell check got her. But anyways, so from a Quebecois, yes, in Canada we love to bitch about the Quebecois. Okay, it's just a thing. It's a thing we do. But yes, I agree with her totally. Canada would not be Canada without the French. That is part of our heritage in this country. It's what makes our country very unique as well. So yeah. So, but we love to pick on the French because the French pick on the rest of us. Because you know the French. It's all poo-poo.
Okay, Doug Wald is Canadian
Oh, okay.
and has a low income.
Oh, but less than 15K, but live comfortably. Yes, it should be for all seniors and eye care especially. Yeah, I agree with you on the eye care with that too. But yeah, it should be for all Canadians. That's the way. But it was a makeshift little thing that Trudeau did with Jagmeet Singh in order to get him to help prop up the Liberal government at the time. So yeah. Dara Rowland writes, fingers crossed for a Liberal majority. Obviously, she wrote this before we had the election night. Anything less is too risky. Women find PP slimy, and PP's Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party, slimy and off the creepo meter, and that men feel this way too is very telling. Something really off about that guy. Best scenario is he loses a seat. I agree about the creepiness. He is creepy. If you saw him near a school, you would grab your children and run home real quick. He is slimy. There's no two ways about that. So totally right comment on that one. Anyways, of course, this is all of our opinions, and you are free to disagree with them. But, you know, whatever. It won't change my mind. But you can try. So anyways, yep, that's that. So we will have another Stephen and Walter live next Sunday, of course, and all the regular videos this week. And then after next Sunday, well, we don't know. So stay tuned. Hit that bell for notifications. It doesn't work, but hit it anyways. Who knows? It might work one day. And we'll be seeing you from the Netherlands in not next week, but the week after. So we're going to go. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you all later.
Yeah.
Bye.